I think when you do YouTube, there's for a long while, because I've been doing this now for 4 years, and for the first few years, it was just appallingly difficult. Like, I released a comedy video, but it was, it was tongue in cheek and it was based on truth, when I was at the 5-month mark, called How I Got 11 Subscribers in Only 5 Months, because that's where I was after 5 months. I was at 11 subscribers. It's incredibly hard work, and you kind of become, after a while, sort of like fixated and fascinated with this number that's next to your name. And I think that's sort of natural, but actually what you've got to slowly realize is that it's more than that. Like you say, the number next to my name doesn't actually bear any relevance to like the quality of that audience. And I feel like I've been very fortunate to have attracted people to my channel that seem to be nice. Like, they seem to like get along, and so I have a very nice community. I did a charity event, which obviously you alluded to earlier, and the main reason that was a success was because I've been very fortunate enough to have fostered this lovely community, and they gave so much back to that, and that was the reason it was a success, was because I've fortunately got a nice audience, and that's more important, I think, than the size of that audience is the quality of it. I know that might sound a little bit sort of wishy-washy. It's what I mean.
I agree, because when you look at your like YouTube analytics, when a video goes up, and it'll say like 1 of 10 or 5 of 10, but it'll also say how many views you've got and the average view duration. And it's that, would you rather less views but more view duration, it's I'd rather less people watched it but they watched it for longer, because it means the people that did watch it have enjoyed it.
And I'm very lucky in that respect, because my view duration is normally between like 40 and 70%, somewhere in that region. So I am quite fortunate in that it's over halfway usually. And when I started, it wasn't. I think when you're a smaller creator, it's harder to get people to feel invested in you, because if you only have 11 subscribers, then when someone clicks on your channel, they're very aware of the fact that you've only got 11 subscribers when they're clicking on. So you have to sort of go above and beyond to impress at that point in time. But so when I first started, I kind of struggled to get those numbers to where they are, but now I'm getting like a fairly decent return on that in terms of view duration. So that, you're definitely right. It's the quality of that view.
So I refer to some of your like vlogs as John style vlogs. That's sort of what I label them as. And I've tried a few sort of those style, and it's almost quite Casey Neistat-y, where you have like different angles of the same thing and like action sequences sort of within the vlog.
So I was very, I've kind of spoken about this before, but I was very late to the YouTube party. But what I did do before was, as part of when I was at university, I studied film and television production, which is a weird one, because you think that would have a massive impact on my channel, and it kind of hasn't, because I spent 3 years like learning nothing. Like, it was my own fault. Like, I basically kind of completely shied away from all the technical roles. I got myself into like producer roles and sort of organizational roles and that sort of thing. But what it did give me was like a fairly good understanding of like film theory. And when I was making my vlogs, I wanted to try and introduce some like dynamism to them, to make them feel a bit like slicker and more dynamic and more engaging. And then I found, just like a couple of years ago, I discovered Casey Neistat as well. And his style was fairly unique from what I was seeing on the platform as well. So I thought that I would just sort of marry up what I was learning from watching people like Casey Neistat and what I learned as part of my degree to try and, I don't know, bring some sort of energy. I'm very flattered, genuinely very flattered, that you would call it John style, because I think it's really hard to like create your own style. So that's genuinely very flattering. Thank you.
And it's, so I mentioned that I tried it, and for me it takes a while, because obviously if, like, say I'm walking out the house, I do the classic John thing of showing me opening the door and maybe put the camera on the floor and show me walking past it. Does it take long because I haven't done it for like that style for a long time, or does it, even for you, take quite a while?
Now it's not, I mean, editing for me now is a fairly slick process, because when I'm shooting, I tend to have an idea of how I want it to look. But it took me a while to realize. I spent quite a lot of time in the past playing around with things, because I kept filming things and putting it together, and I was just like, it's just slow. It doesn't lack any energy. It lacks energy. It lacks any sort of excitement. And actually, you have to be even more severe with, I mean, if we're going to get technical, you have to be even more severe with the cut than you think. Like, if you see my hand opening the door, for example, which is like the classic Boy John shot, by the way. I love opening a door.
Every video has to have one.
Yeah, to the point where it's now a meme, and I include it for that reason.
Yeah.
It's the same with making coffee. Like, it's become a meme, and I'm like, well, I'm going to keep it in, because first of all, I'm going to have a cup of coffee, and secondly, you lot are expecting it.
So if you didn't, we'd all be disappointed.
Exactly. But also now the fact that I'm aware of it has become a meme. It's maybe become too self-referential. But I will, when the hand is opening the door, that shot won't be longer than 2 seconds. It might not even be 2 seconds. It might only be a second. You'd be surprised how much you can show in a second. So that's how I sort of tinkered around with it and played with it and tried to get my pacing right. And I suppose that's a skill that took me a little while to learn, is pacing. But I'm getting there now, like to the point where I think like it's my editing process has become a fairly quick process, but there's still bits that I play around with for ages.
Yeah, I know when I started YouTube, which was just over a year ago now, I saw it as, I think many people would. I sit in front of the camera, say something, put it up, sorted.
Yeah.
But it does take, you've got to think about sort of the flow of the video and how, if it's a vlog, how does the narrative flow, and sort of the transitions from clips. So there is a lot more to consider.
My videos have always been quite structured weirdly. So the vlogs it might not seem like they are, but they do tend to have like quite a solid structure in terms of a beginning and a middle and an end, and also how I present that. And when I'm going throughout my day, I think about how I can turn it into a beginning, a middle, and an end. The other thing that I would say is, before I started doing vlogs, when I was doing more comedy videos, they were always very, very scripted, and I would re-record those bits over and over and over and over, to the point where it was a bit of a ball ache, to be honest with you, to just get the timing right. Because I used to do stand-up comedy quite a lot, and so I sort of the first time I ever did stand-up, I like just completely rushed through my stand-up, so just completely rushed through it. I got a few laughs, but I was just like so nervous, and at that point I sort of like realize the importance of timing, and I got better at it as I was doing stand-up, and I was trying to bring that into the video. The problem with video is that you can perfect it by recording over and over and over again. So I probably spent too long on some bits, but I always had quite a clear idea of the structure of the video before as a script, and now just in terms of like being sure to make it flow nicely, basically.